Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're making a clothesline picture frame. Well, this is a fun little project that you can do. It seems to be that the teenagers really love to post photos of their friends, and it seems like they've gone into a retro stage where they actually like the photographs themselves, and they need a way to display them. But they also like to switch them up and change them around. So I thought I would make one of these. Now, I saw this in a local craft store and I was blown away by how much they charged for one of these. But we're going to try to make it as simply and inexpensively as possible today, and it all starts off with some cheap 3/4 inch thick shelving pine. Well, the very first thing that I want to do over here at the router table, I've set it up for jointing. And what I want to do is joint one edge of this pine board so that we have a good flat reference point for our next series of cuts. With the one edge jointed, we now want to cut some strips that are 2 inches wide. Well, there are plenty of ways that you could do the corners of this frame. You could do half lap joints, you can do butt joints. I initially toyed with doing finger joints, but what I'm going to do here is just straight up miters. So I'm going to cut those using my miter fence, and I'm going to cut the miters in such a way so that it yields us a frame that is 24 inches long and 20 inches wide. And at this point, we can give the inside surface of each one of these boards a good sanding, and then using whatever frame clamp you have or whatever clamping methods you have, we're going to clamp this up and let it set up to give us our 20 by 24 inch frame. All right, and now you can clean up all the squeeze out and let this completely dry. Okay, well, this frame is dry, but what we're going to do, I want to strengthen this frame just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it over to the drill press, and I'll show you how we're going to accomplish that. Well, what we're going to do to strengthen this frame is using a 5/8 inch Forstner bit. We're going to, right in the corner, bridging across our two frame pieces, we are going to, in each corner, drill a 5/8 diameter hole 3/8 of an inch deep. And we will do that at each corner of our frame. And now we need some 5/8 dowel. And now in each one of those holes, we'll just put a little blob of glue there, and we'll put a short length of 5/8 diameter dowel into that hole. Now this isn't as strong as a spline in my opinion, but it will definitely strengthen your frame. So there you go. There's, if you weren't aware of it, there's another way to strengthen your 45 corners. So all we need to do with those now is let those dry up, and then we can sand them flush. At that point too, we can give the rest of the frame a sanding all over, you know, smooth everything out. Okay, well, this is where I want to have a little bit of fun with this project. And what I want to do is use my power carver. I've got a Typhoon burr installed in that, And I want to, all over the front face and the side faces of the entire frame, I want to carve wood grain, kind of like bark. So let me show you how we're going to accomplish that. So essentially we're just going to carve grooves and lines all the way along here to simulate wood grain. And I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So something like this all the way around the perimeter of the frame. So I don't think we need a full video of this. It would be excruciatingly boring, but I'm going to go through and continue carving all these lines, and I'll see you when I get it done. All right, and at this point you've got a lot of extra little burrs of pine and stuff that are all caught up in the wood. You can use a steel brush and just clean them up. You don't need to get them perfect. And I'll show you why. The reason you don't need to get them perfect is because of our next step. And what the next step involves is a blowtorch. Now guys, if you're going to do this step, you may say it's overkill, but I don't think so. Have a fire extinguisher handy, because you never know, it's pine. It doesn't take much for this stuff to really ignite. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to burn the living tar out of this, and it's going to get rid of all of those fuzzies, but as well, it's really going to make the bark that we've carved really pop out. So let me just show you this here. Check that out. That looks awesome. So I'm going to do all the rest of the sides and all of the top edges, and once we get that done, we can carry on with the next step. Okay, and there we have it, the entire frame there on the front and the sides. We left the inside unburnt, so it kind of gives it that live edge, kind of a crafty kind of a look. Well, we now need some string because we need to put our clotheslines in place. So it doesn't matter what kind of string that you use. I prefer something that's a little more rustic, like a craft twine sort of thing. So I'm going to get some of that and show you what we're going to do with it. Well, this is the kind of string that I want to use. I'm not sure what it's called. It might be called Manila or something like that. Anyway, it's a very rough craft string. And what we're going to do right off the bat is up here at the top, probably about an inch down. It doesn't have to be perfect, but about an inch down, we're going to drill a through hole right through the side of our frame. And then the same thing on the other side. So most photos are 4 by 6. So what we're going to do is from that hole that you just drilled, we're going to come down 7 inches and we're going to drill another hole, and then down 7 inches and drill another hole. We'll do that in both sides of our frame. So now with your holes drilled, we can thread this clothesline through our holes here. What I have done is I've coated the end of this string with a little bit of CA glue just to make it like a needle, kind of to help me start threading it because it can be a bit of a pain. But what we're going to do because of that is we're going to take it all the way down through each one of these, and then I'll show you what to do after that. Okay, so first things first, in this bottom one here, we're going to tie a couple of knots to keep it from pulling through. You gotta remember, guys, this is a craft project. This isn't fine woodworking, so don't worry about that knot. There, just like that. It's gonna keep it from pulling through, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this tight on the other side, and we're going to cut it and then tie another knot so that this is a little slack. So we're just going to pull it back here. I'm going to say we're going to cut it about here. Now if you try to get the knot as close to your frame as you can, you will end up with a good amount of slack in your clothesline. Alright, and there is the first one done. So we can now do the next one the same thing. Just tie a knot, cut it, try to tie it as close to the frame as you can, and then repeat the process for the top line. Okay, and now the last thing you want to do here is put a hanger on this. And for this, I'm just going to use a sawtooth hanger. We're going to mount it right in the middle so that it has a better chance of sitting square or level on the wall. And then I'll show you what to do with this when you're done that. And the very last thing you're going to need for this project is some of these. And what these are is just mini clothespins. You can get them at your local dollar store. They're very cheap. And all you need to do at this point now is put your pictures in place, whatever picture you like, and use your clothespins to hang them on the line. Just like that. And you can mount them either portrait or landscape, whichever you want, and it's just a fun way to display some of your favorite pictures of, maybe it'll be your friends or your family, but you just hang them on this clothesline, and once you get them hung, of course, then you just hang your frame on the wall. Very easy to change your pictures, and you know what? It's just a load of fun. And there you have it. A clothesline picture frame. Guys, this project is so simple, it's not even funny. And if you eliminated the whole thing with the torch and the carving of the wood grain, it's even more simple still. But what it provides is a great way to display some fun photos in a temporary art display in your home. Now for me, it's the daughters that like to display photos. They still like to have photos printed. It's not all about digital with my kids. So this frame here will go a long way to giving them that temporary artistic display of them and their friends, etc., etc. But it's just a great way for to use up scrap stock if you have thinner strips of wood, whether it be pine or what have you. It's a great way to use those up, but honestly, it's just a way to pass some time. And if you're happy with the results and you like doing this crafty thing, then you should give this a try. Now for those strings, I'm not going to cut them off tight. I don't want that. I'm just going to leave a little kind of a bit of a tail hanging out there because I think it gives it a little more of that rustic, crafty look. And that's what I was after here. I wasn't after fine woodworking. So I think I accomplished what I wanted, and I'm going to keep them the way they are. Now, if you don't like that and you don't want that, glue the knot and then just cut it flush. Whatever you like to do, it's your project and you should make it your own with whatever modifications suit you. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. I've enjoyed this project. I was walking through a craft store and saw a woman carrying one of these, not quite as elaborate as mine with the wood grain, but even still, that's where I got the idea, and I'm glad that I was able to make my own version and bring it to you today. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Click the bell and then you won't miss the notifications of future episodes of the show. It's been a great time today for me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it too. I hope you've enjoyed the content that I've brought you, and more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another woodworking video.